second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, college. No, I'm kidding. So good. You were in college, you look very young. I'm very impressed. Hey, but listen, it is such a joy to be here. Like your teacher said, my name is Paul J. Kim, and I'm originally from Southern California. And when I was in high school, which is a couple years ahead of you, this guy grabbed the microphone during lunch and went, and I dropped my lunch and I was like, what? I looked at my friend like, what is he doing with his face? He goes, bro, that's beatboxing. That's when you can afford an iPhone. And I'm like, I don't have a job, this is great. So are you guys cool with a little more beatboxing? All right, here we go. Wisconsin Rapids, make some noise! Thank you very much, everyone. That's a little beatboxing for you. Sweet. I'm actually going to do something really quick. I'm going to turn myself up. Let's go. Let's go. No, that's not it. Is that it? That's it. I think that's it. How's that? A little better? All right, so, quick question. Any Catholics here by chance? Anyone Catholic? Okay, even if you're not, you're still very welcome here, all right? But listen, I tell this to kids all the time. I went to church for 2 reasons, and 2 reasons only. Pretty girls and donuts. That's it. So, I know, it wasn't for the right reasons. Some people went to church to grow in their relationship with God. I went to find a future girlfriend. But it was really hard. I know, so someone's going to really relate to my story today. But there was a problem. It was really hard to find a girlfriend in church because the average age was 85. Okay? My grandma's age. And so, I keep getting this bottle for the life of me. It's got right here. Don't cross the blue line. Don't do it. Okay. So anyways, I go to church, and you know, as soon as my family would park the car for Sunday Mass, I would run in. And you might be like, why? I thought you didn't like church. I didn't. But I went to go find my girlfriend, so I would find that cute girl. Be like, there she is. And I would park myself next to her pew, and my family would walk in. They didn't like that. They're like, we're Catholic. We sit in the back. And I would go like this. Don't you want to be closer to Jesus? He's waiting for you up here. And so my family would come up, and during Mass, I was so distracted. Oh my gosh. I wasn't focused on any part of the Mass except one part, and that was the Our Father. Because at the Our Father, I got to hold this pretty girl's hand. Oh my gosh. And so I want to make sure my hand wasn't sweaty. My mom's like, stop it right now. Like, don't worry about it, Mom. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And then the priest would say this verse. And I had a 1-minute window of opportunity to make my intentions known. And so I said like this. Hey. And she's like, hey. I was reading the Bible, the book of Numbers, and I couldn't find your number. Can I have it? rosary together? Because I want to be your joyful mystery for the next 5 decades. And she's like, Bill. I'm like, how rude of me not to introduce myself. My name's Peace. Can I be with you? And she's like, Mom, can I trade seats like now? So I stayed single for a very long time, okay? It's okay. God has a plan. So anyways, as you can see, I didn't go to church for the right reasons. And one day, my youth minister, because I was part of a church youth group, and my youth minister said to me, hey, Paul, do you want to go to an event called Steubenville? I said, that's rude. Why would you call me that? She's like, not Steubenville, Steubenville. I'm like, what is that? It's an event where thousands of young people go to learn about Jesus and have fun. And I'm like, thousands of girls? She's like, yes. I'm like, let's go. So I know. You can see I have a one-track mind when I was little. So we got on the bus and we drove to this conference. And I didn't know what to expect because after all, it was my first Jesus conference, okay? But I walked in the back of this building, and there were 2,000 people my age, not my mom's age, my age, and they were all doing this. Jesus, Catholic, Catholic. And I was standing in the back, weirded out, and thinking, awkward. In my mind, it made 0 sense for someone to be that excited about going to a church conference. So I sat down and I'm like, this ain't it. I'm not into this thing, but I can sing, so I'll just observe. And it wasn't that bad. Has anyone here been to like a professional concert or sporting event? Has anyone done that? Fantastic. And when you went, wasn't it fun? Because they had like lights and sound, and it was a good time, right? And when you went to this, were you thinking, oh, this is so boring? No, it was like amazing, right? Well, they made it this special for this Jesus conference. Now, I was like, okay, but I'm still not really into the faith message. But they brought out a host and speakers, and the speakers were talking about things that made sense to me at that age. They're like, hey, anyone struggle with their faith in God? Anyone struggle with temptation, sin, bad friendships, sketchy family situations? And I'm like, that's my life. How do you know me so well? I'm learning something in a church environment. I'm going to write that down. No, I'm not. I'm too lazy, but I'll think about it though. So slowly but surely, I was getting something out of this church environment. Now, as this weekend continued, they had activities and talks and games, and they just kept turning up the heat, meaning they wanted us to really focus on how we could grow in our relationship with God. But remember, I didn't really care about that. At least not yet. And the host came out. And kids, you ever get this feeling in your life when you're talking to an adult and they seem annoyed or frustrated at something or someone, and you're trying to figure out if that something or someone is you? You ever wow, some honesty and stuff. You're right every day. Well, the host came out and he's like this. Hey guys, let me ask you a question. Why are you here? And we're all like, why are you here, sir? Didn't you come here to see your mom? Your dad? Your grandma? Did she pay you? You know she's retired. You're a thief. So, since you're here, stop wasting my time. Stop wasting your time. Stop wasting God's time. And at this point, we were all kind of crying quietly. Why so serious? You need a hug. You need Jesus. But he had some points. He said this. Hey, have you ever had this conversation before? Hey, are you Catholic? You believe in God? You go to church? I'm Catholic, but I'm not that religious. Has anyone heard that in Wisconsin? I'm Catholic, but I'm not that religious. Anyone hear that? Some of you are like, no way, I said that this morning 2 times. It's incredible. I'm Catholic, but I'm not that religious. But what does that mean? Because Catholicism indeed is a religion. Jesus is the founder of this religion. There are prayers and customs, traditions, holidays. There's a book, Indeed It Is a Religion, and not all religion is bad, right? So how can you be Catholic and not be religious all at the same time? That's like being a Girl Scout and you don't have cookies to sell to me this year. What are you doing on my porch then? You hurt my feelings. But for real, I'm Catholic, but I'm not that religious. So what are they talking about? But you know what? They continue. They're like this. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Oh, that's such a comfort to my heart. You know why? Demons are spiritual. Could you be a little bit more specific? I'm spiritual. I believe in all the positive vibes that connect me to all the other positive vibes, like Oprah and dolphins. They're very majestic creatures. And I'm a good person because I never killed anybody. You know, religion's all about rules. I don't need more rules in my life. It's like, okay, thank you for sharing. Now, friends, here's the thing. I travel a lot. I hear a lot of interesting conversations. I hear things from people because they ask me, hey, where are you flying? I'm going to Wisconsin. Wow, what do you do for work? I'm a Catholic speaker. And you know what they say? Catholic, I was raised Catholic. You know what they're going to say next? But I'm no longer can. I've since progressed to Ohio State opinion. I don't need organized religion in my life. And I'm like, I'm sorry, why did you leave? And friends, I've heard so many reasons why so many people no longer go to church, no longer pray, no longer associate with the Catholic Church. There's so many reasons. But it all comes down to one simple reason. You guys ready? You know what that reason is? What? They never knew Jesus in their hearts. Now, do you guys study Spanish here? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay. Well, if you ever do, in the Spanish language, in the English language, there's one word for the verb to know. Right? No, I know this, I know that. But in Spanish, there are two words. The first is saber. Can you say saber? Very good. The second word is conocer. Can you say conocer? Muy bien. Now, why is a Korean guy teaching you Spanish this morning? Because saber means to know things in your head, like knowledge. But conocer means to know someone or something because you have a relationship with them. So what does this mean? For a lot of Catholic school students, they know things about Jesus. Jesus is the Son of God, born in Bethlehem. He died on the cross in Jerusalem, and he is my friend. Okay, very good. But who is Jesus to you? That's a problem. Because if we don't have a relationship with Jesus, then guess what? He's just a subject I don't want to study. Think about it. It makes perfect sense. And so let me teach you something about humans. Rules without a relationship equals rebellion. Let me say that again. Rules without a relationship equals rebellion. That was my entire childhood. Mom and Dad are telling me to do things and not do things. Rules. But I don't feel like I have a good relationship with them. Relationship. And so, I don't care. Rebel. That was my entire teenage life. Sadly. And you know what? People do the same thing with God. But you know what? What if I were to tell each and every one of you in this gym today, no matter if you're a kindergartner, or 6th grade, or if you're a teacher, what if I were to tell you this? That every one of us is hungry for God. No. And you're like, no way. I'm going to prove it to you. Guess how I'm going to prove it to you? I'm going to ask the question. What is everyone trying to get in this life? Money and fun toys, right? No. Possessions. But I don't know what that is. Some of you are very excited about Christmas coming up. And has this ever happened to you when you were waiting for that super fun toy? You're like, Mom and Dad, please, can you get me the iPhone? I've been really good. I didn't get suspended all year long. Please. And your parents are like, we will think about it. And so what happens? Maybe Christmas comes around and your parents got you the phone. You're like, life is awesome, right? gets, well, break it. That's another problem. We're not going to talk about that. It gets old, right? Have you ever gotten something and it gets old? Yeah. And you're like, I don't want that toy anymore. You can give it away, or I want the new one. Has that happened to anybody here? And you know what? It happens to adults like us too. If it's not a phone, then it's a toy. If it's not a toy, then it's a car. If it's not a car, then it's a house. If it's not a house, it's a purse, hey ladies. It's a lot of things. And we get what? Tired of it. Why is that? Because if money and things are the answer to our fulfillment and happiness, don't you think we would be really happy with what we have? But we're not. Okay, so the meaning of life isn't money or things. Okay, maybe it's relationships, right? You young people, you listen to T-Swizzle, Taylor Swift. She's always talking about love, but she can't manage to be in a relationship more than a month, right? Anyways, it's a whole other topic. And there's all these love songs. Everyone's like, oh, I want to be in love. Oh. I meet all these wonderful people and they're single and they're like, oh, when I meet that special somebody, my life will be incredible. All my problems will go away and I will just be so happy. And then they find somebody and they're in a relationship with them and then they're like, why is it so hard? It's true. Okay, look, I'm happily married. I have a beautiful wife, and we have 5 kids. I know! I drive a minivan. I kind of like it. So, right? I like being a dad. I like being a husband. My wife is so pretty. On the outside and on the inside. Such a pretty lady, okay? Now, I'm very happy in my relationship with my wife. Last month, we celebrated our 10-year anniversary. That means I've been married longer than you've been alive. Okay? No. Okay. Now, if my wife were here, and we were standing next to each other, I'd be like, hey, honey, yes? We love each other, right? Yes. Do you complete me? No. Do I complete you? No. And you'd be like, oh, that's sad. But it's actually not. I'll tell you why. How can 2 imperfect people make each other perfectly happy? Tell me. You can't. And as much as we are happy together, we don't complete each other. Okay, so it's not a relationship. So could it be achievements? Who here wants to achieve something great in their life? Very good, Wisconsin. Who wants to be a professional athlete? Who wants to be a business person? Who wants to make the most delicious cheese curd of all time? Excellent. It's good to have goals and dreams. But let me tell you something. Is it achievement? Does that fully satisfy us? And the answer is, okay? Who likes watching sports? Watching sports? I have a sports trivia question. Who is the GOAT, the greatest of all time in the Summer Olympics? Yes.
I forgot.
Summer Olympics, tell me, who is the greatest of all time?
Michael Jordan.
No, he's really good. It's not him, but it's actually Michael something. Yes.
My dad.
Is your dad Michael Phelps? No, you're wrong. It's Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps, you know how many medals he has in the Olympics? Guess 1, 5, 10, 15, 20? No, 28 medals. How can you even swim that much? I would drown halfway through. 28 medals? He's the greatest of all time in the Summer Olympics. But you know what? What's so sad and what's quite interesting? He was interviewed a couple of years ago. You know what he said? He said, every Summer Olympics, I trained myself to the max. time the Summer Olympics ended, I felt depressed. Wow, wait a minute, Michael. You have millions of dollars, you have fans all throughout the world, even in Wisconsin, and you have 28 medals, and you're unhappy, and you're depressed? He said yes. And thank goodness, Michael talked to somebody, a counselor, and he got help. Okay? But you would think that if achievements made you totally happy and fulfilled, you wouldn't feel depressed, right? So it's not money, it's not relationships, and it's not achievements. So what are we left with? Nothing! That's my talk, goodbye. No, I'm kidding. What then can satisfy our hearts? Has anyone seen the Narnia movies? Or read the books by C.S. Lewis? Cool. C.S. Lewis was a Christian man who loved Jesus very much. And in his book called Mere Christianity, you know what he said? Hang with me, kindergartners and everyone. He said this: if nothing in this created world can satisfy our hearts, we must come to one conclusion: that our hearts were not made for this world. And you're like, Mars? No! What did he mean by this? He said our hearts were created for God, an eternal life in heaven. Friends, it's true. So I've just proven to you in a rather simple way why you're hungry for God, and so am I. And the only way in this life our life can find meaning is if we have that relationship with Him, like fully. Friends, let me ask you a question. Have you ever done something kind for anybody? Raise your hand if you've done something. And I'm not talking about yourself. I'm talking about somebody else. Has anyone here been kind to anybody else other than yourself? Oh, raise your hand. I believe in you, kiddos. Okay. Now, when you showed kindness to somebody else, what did you feel? Did you feel regret, remorse, blindness, vomiting, diarrhea? What did you feel? It was like a pharmaceutical commercial. When you did something kind, what did you feel? Yes.
Good.
Very good. He felt good. G-O-O-D. He felt real good. And why do you think he felt good? Why do you think he felt good?
I forgot.
How convenient. Okay, I'm going to answer the question. Why did he feel good? You know why? You may have never thought of it this way, but who created all of us? God. And God is love. And so think about it. If we others, why do you think you feel good? Because you were made to love like God. Because you were made in His image and likeness. Did you know that at the end of our life, in the Gospel of Matthew 25, when people die, you know what Jesus is going to ask them at their last judgment? You know what He's going to say? He's not going to say this. Johnny, welcome to your last judgment. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Please answer honestly, okay? The first is, how popular were you? How many toys did you own? What kind of car did you drive? Where did you live? What neighborhood? Where did you vacation? How much money did you make? What was your net worth? Okay, how cute was your significant other? Very good. Now, since you've answered these questions, okay, we're going to consult with the guys and let you know where you spent all of eternity. Do you think He's going to ask these questions? No. You know what the Bible says in Matthew 25? You know what He's going to ask people? He's going to ask them this. Did you feed me when I was hungry? Did you give me a drink when I was thirsty? When I was a stranger, did you welcome me? When I was sick, did you visit me? When I was in prison, did you visit me? When I did not have clothes, did you give me clothes to wear? And then, in fact, people are going to be like, huh? And in this this gospel passage, he separates everyone from left to right, and he tells us to the people on his right, and he said, you did all these things for me. And they're going to be like, what? I don't remember you with long hair and giving you chicken nuggets. And you know what Jesus says to them? Whatever you did to the least of my brothers and my sisters, you did it to me. And they're going to be like, woo! You're dismissed into eternal life. But there's a group who are not going to heaven. Very sad, very scary. And you know why? Jesus says this, when I was hungry, you did not give me food. When I was thirsty, you didn't give me drink. When I was a stranger, you didn't welcome me. When I was sick in prison, you didn't visit me. When I didn't have clothes, you did not clothe me. And there's going to be people going, whoa, Jesus! I never saw you in my life. Long hair, robe, sandals, I never saw you. That's unfair. And you know what Jesus will say to them? Whatever you did not do to the least of my brothers and sisters, you did not do it to me. Wow. Here's the question, guys. You think your report cards are important? The most important test that you will ever have in your entire existence is that moment at the end of your life, because that is the final test. And guess what? God is going to ask you those questions. How did you love me, God? And how did you love others? Did you follow my commandments? And did you love other people? These are the simple questions he's going to ask us. So, kindergartners, 6th graders, staff and faculty, simple question this morning. How are you doing with loving God? Let's start with that. Good, praise God. Well, we got to ask these honest questions, right? Because like I said, when I was growing up at this conference, I was hearing these messages about Jesus, but I didn't want a relationship with him. Because I thought he was just coming to take away all my fun. But it turns out, I thought in my head that my sins were fun. And the bad things I was doing were better than what God was offering. This is what I thought in my mind. But it turns out that my sins could never make me happy. Maybe for a moment, but not my life, for my whole life. And without God's mercy, I would just be walking around without him. So friends, guess what? I said an honest prayer. And when I was honest with God and he spoke to me, how did he speak to me? Did he say, Paul, finally, you little jerk? No, he didn't say that. You know what happened? I said this honest prayer at that conference I was talking about. I said, Jesus, I'm sorry for everything. I've done things I'm not proud of. I've done things that have hurt other people and myself. I'm sorry. And I want a relationship with you, but it's kind of hard because I'm kind of bored all the time at church. But they're talking about how good you are and how you are forgiven and how you want a relationship with me. I want that too. Please help me. Amen. I said an honest prayer. And you know what happened next? The best way I can describe it, it's like Jesus came and gave me a big hug. And then I cried. And I cried because I knew he was there and he was real. But I never experienced that till I did what? I opened my heart. And then, because I had a relationship with him, I cared about what he thought, about how he wanted me to live, and what he didn't want me to do. And I wanted to follow him in his commandments. So this is very important. But number two, it shapes the way I was going to treat other people. Because remember the last judgment? How are we treating other people? Let me ask you a few questions. Anyone here have parents? No, I was downloaded from the internet. Of course you have parents. How do you treat your parents? Okay, I'm telling the truth, very good. Some of you, do you treat them like money-making robots who are designed to make you sandwiches? How do you treat your parents? Because believe it or not, they have feelings too. What? This is new information. Yeah. They were your age once. No, they were born old. Old and frumpy. No. They were your age once. And you know when they tell you this? Kids, when you become my age, you will understand what I am saying to you. Have you ever heard that before in your house? And you know what you say to them? You say, no, I'll never be old like you, never. And guess what? I said that. And now I'm old like you are. Guess what? Sometimes when you get a little bit older, and this message is especially for the 4th grade and up, and when you get older, some sometimes you want to do things your way, right? You want to figure out how the world works for yourself. But your parents are like, don't do this, do that. And you're like, ugh. But you know what? Your parents are trying their best and they love you. And the reason they're telling you to do things and not do things is not because they hate your guts. It's because they love you. You know why I said I have 5 kids, right? You know, one of my youngest sons, his name is Micah. Micah is 3 years old. And Micah, he is very he loves to explore and try new things. And he got a knife one day, like a butter knife. And he started walking towards the electrical outlet. And I said, Micah, no! You will die if you do that! And he goes, Daddy's me! I just saved your life! No respect! Okay, now did I tell him not to stick the knife in the socket because I hate him? Because I wanted to ruin all of his electrical fun that day. Is that why I did it? No. Yes, I'm getting mixed reviews already. The reason I told him not to do that is because I love him and I care for him and I know the consequence of sticking a metal object into an electrical outlet. It produces electricity and it shocks you and it stops your heart and you die. Okay? So, all I'm saying, friends, is that when your parents tell you something, okay, generally speaking, it's because they love you. And I will give you a life hack. You know what a life hack is? It's something that will make your life better. Young people, listen. If you respect your parents and their reasonable requests in your life, they in turn will respect you. Try it. What? Yeah. Try it. Anyone here have siblings? Who has brothers and sisters? Okay, how do you treat them? With justice. Like Batman. Swear. Okay, like I get it. Sometimes, like with siblings, it can be hard. Why? Because you all want the same toy and you're fighting over the same toy. Or maybe they're not being very nice to you or you're not being nice to them. I get it. But did you know that Jesus said, whatever you do to the least of your brothers and sisters, you do it to me? And some of you are like, uh-oh. Jesus, I'm so sorry I kicked you down the stairs. That was very rude of me. But Jesus, they don't look like you. They're ugly. You're beautiful. I didn't see you. Brothers and sisters, friends, however you treat your siblings is how you treat God. How do you guys treat your fellow students at school? Okay, I'll ask the principal about that later, okay? I hope it's very good. I'm not just talking about my BFF, my best friend forever. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the kids you don't like. How do you treat them? Alright, I'm being honest, very good. Because how we treat them is how we treat God. You know, let me tell you something. This is really important. God says love your neighbor. But loving doesn't mean liking your neighbor. What is love and what is like? Love is willing the good. I know this is a really deep way to understand it, but repeat after me. Love is willing the good of the other. You're like, I don't know what I just said. I'm going to help you. Loving means I want what's truly good for my neighbor. That's what love is. Love isn't a feeling. That's gas. Okay? Love isn't a feeling. Love is a decision. You can choose to love somebody whether you feel like it or not. And so what is like? What does it mean to like? I like hamburgers. I like puppies. I love playing with my friends. I love Blippi. I love VeggieTales. I like this. I like that. Liking is very, very. It just depends on what you're into. But you can be into some people and not into some people. But guess what? No matter how you feel about them, you can still what? Love them. You see the difference? So, phew! God God's not saying I have to be friends with everybody. But He is saying, I want you to love and respect them as humans, because I made them too. And so, brothers and sisters, my young friends, remember this. The point of your life isn't to have 1 million followers on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok. Like, follow, and subscribe for more. That's not the purpose of your life. The purpose of your life isn't just to run all the toys. The most toys ever. That's not the purpose of your life. I'm going to keep it really simple for you guys in a way that you can understand. The purpose of your life is to know God, be in a relationship with Him, and to serve God by serving others. Very simple. And very available to anybody. Anybody can do that. Brothers and sisters, you know that yesterday we celebrated the feast day of a saint. His name is Blessed Carlo Acutis. Have you guys heard of this guy? He is one of the youngest saints in the entire church who is officially on his way to becoming a legit saint. Did you know that he lived in Italy not too long ago, and he died, unfortunately, of leukemia. He died as a teenager. He was a normal boy, though. He loved video games. Anyone like video games? He liked playing sports. Anyone like playing sports? He liked watching fun videos on the internet, like on YouTube. Anyone like doing that? But guess what? He was different. He loved God more than all of that. And did you know he chose to go to church every day because he wanted to? Oh, I thought that was only for grandmas. No, even a young boy said, like him, I want to have my appointment with God every day. So he received the Eucharist as often as possible. He would pray his rosary every single day because he knew that that time with God was more important than even the video games. But he had fun. He knew how to have fun like a normal kid. And when he found out he had this serious disease that was threatening his life, he said, I'm going to offer it up for the church, for the Pope, and for other people. This kid was wise beyond his years, and he died. But you know what? The moment he died, he saw Jesus. And not only did he pass the test, he heard those beautiful words. Well done, good and faithful servant. And you know what? As cool as Wisconsin is, it's nothing compared to heaven. And he's in heaven right now. And he is a young boy. He's not too much older than you are right now. At least on earth he wasn't. But he's in heaven forever. Brothers and sisters, do you know that's your forever home? Your forever home isn't your house. It's actually in heaven. And God is saying, I have a room prepared for you right now. That's what he says in the gospel. Whoa! Does it have Xbox? You won't need a video game console or a Nintendo Wii in heaven, because you'll be so amazed and happy. Can you remember your best day on earth ever? Like your most favorite day in memory ever. Can you remember that? Now, imagine 1 million of those days brought into one. That's not even heaven yet. It's infinite amounts, Googleplex amounts of those days, forever. That's heaven. Because we're with God. And so, brothers and sisters, remember this, that your life is a gift. And you don't have to look at other people and other kids, because I did this a lot when I was in grade school, middle school, and high school. You know what I did? I fell into a trap. You know what the trap was? I looked at my life and I said, well, this is me and these are my talents. But then I looked at other people and I said, well, they seem more talented than me. They're better looking than me, more talented than me, they're funnier than me, they're more popular than me. So my life stinks. And you know what? I started believing that. And throughout my life, I would fall into this trap. Because why? I was constantly comparing myself to other people. You know you don't need to do that. Did you know that that's a big waste of time? Did you know that Blessed Carlo, who I just talked about, he had this amazing quote, and I'm going to share it with you. He said, everyone is born as an original, but most people die as a photocopy. Let me say that again. He said, everyone is born as an original, but most people die as a photocopy. What do you think that means? Can anyone explain that? Raise your hand if you can explain that to me. Who can explain that? Everyone's born as an original, but most people die as a photocopy. I see that there's a game here, Vincent. Everyone is born as an original. Most people die as a photocopy. If you know an answer, please raise your hand. If you don't, please put your hands down, okay? Yes, sir.
Because he likes us. He loves us.
Yes, more specifically.
Because you live with when you're born, you have original sin, and when you die, you go to heaven, and that's just your new place.
Yes, original sin is a part of that, but we're not talking about original sin. We're talking, excuse me, sorry, thank you.
When they mean photocopy, they mean that in the past there must have been another one of you, and there must have been more,
Okay, now we're getting really deep, but the point of what that quote means is that when God created you, He created you special. You're the